In supply chain management, measurement matters. But what we measure shapes how we manage. Many organisations are very good at tracking performance. They measure service levels, delivery performance, stock availability, forecast accuracy, warehouse productivity, and supplier performance. These are important measures. They help us understand how well the supply chain is performing now. But performance indicators do not always tell us whether risk is building. That is where key risk indicators, or KRIs, become important. KPIs show current performance. KRIs show whether future performance may be at risk. The problem is that many organisations only discover risk after service has already started to fail. The best supply chain decisions come when performance and risk are measured together. So the key question is this: if you only measure performance, how will you spot risk before service starts to fail? KPIs are key performance indicators. They help organisations understand whether the supply chain is performing against agreed targets. In simple terms, KPIs answer the question, are we doing what we said we would do? Typical supply chain. KPIs include service level, stock availability, forecast accuracy, supplier delivery performance, pick accuracy, lead time, transport reliability, and cost performance. These measures are extremely useful because they show whether operations are achieving expected results. But most KPIs are current state or lagging measures. They often tell us what has happened or what is happening now. That makes them valuable but incomplete. A KPI may be green today, while risk is quietly building underneath. For example, stock availability may look healthy, but supplier dependency, lead time volatility, or demand instability may be increasing. So KPIs are essential, but they do not always show the full risk picture. KR is a key risk indicators. They are designed to show whether exposure, vulnerability, or uncertainty is increasing. Instead of only measuring performance outcomes, KRs act as early warning signals. They help teams spot risk before performance deteriorates. In supply chains, KRs might include supplier dependency, rising late deliveries, stock at risk, forecast volatility, warehouse capacity pressure, increasing lead time variability, data quality issues, or reliance on a single transport route. The purpose of a KRI is not simply to report a problem. Its purpose is to trigger attention before the problem becomes failure. That is why KRIs are so valuable in resilient supply chains. They help organizations move from reactive management to proactive control. A KPI may tell you that service has dropped. A KRI should help you see the conditions that could cause service to drop. So the key question is, are you seeing risk early enough to prevent failure? Supply chains need both KPIs and KRIs because performance and risk are connected. KPIs show how the supply chain is performing now. KRIs show whether future performance may be at risk. Using KPIs alone can make organizations reactive. They may only act once a target has been missed, a customer has been affected, or availability has already deteriorated. That is too late. KRIs help teams act earlier. They show warning signs before the performance failure becomes visible. For example, a delivery KPI may still be green, but if supplier lead time variability is increasing, that is a risk signal. A stock availability KPI may look strong, but if demand volatility is rising, the future position may be less secure. The best supply chains use both. KPIs help control current performance. KRIs help protect future performance. Performance tells you what happened. Risk tells you what may happen next. Good indicators are not just numbers on a dashboard. They should help people make better decisions. A useful KPI or KRI should be relevant, measurable, timely, and actionable. Relevant means it links to something that matters. Measurable means it can be tracked consistently. Timely means it appears early enough to support action. Actionable means someone can actually do something with it. Good measurement also needs a balanced mix of leading and lagging indicators. Lagging indicators show outcomes. Leading indicators show warning signs. Organisations should also define thresholds, ownership, and review frequency. Who owns the indicator? What level triggers action? How often is it reviewed? What happens when performance changes or risk rises? Poor indicators create noise. Good indicators create decisions. The aim is not to measure everything. The aim is to measure what helps teams improve control. So ask yourself, is your dashboard helping decisions or just reporting numbers? KPIs and KRIs should be applied across the whole supply chain, not just in one function. In procurement and supplier management, KPIs may include on-time delivery, quality performance, and contract compliance. KRIs may include supplier concentration, financial health, geopolitical exposure, or increasing lead time volatility. In inventory and forecasting, KPIs may include stock availability, forecast accuracy, and inventory turns. KRIs may include stock out risk, demand volatility, aging inventory, single source items or data quality concerns. In logistics and warehousing, KPIs may include pick accuracy, transport reliability, damage rate and cost per shipment. KRIs may include capacity pressure, labour shortage risk, route disruption, equipment availability, or rising backlog. Each function needs different indicators, but they should not be viewed in isolation. Dashboards should show where both performance and risk are changing across the end-to-end supply chain. Different functions need different measures, but one joined-up view. A dashboard is only useful if it leads to action. Balanced dashboards bring KPI and KRI views together so teams can see both performance and emerging risk. But a dashboard should not simply be a collection of numbers. It should show trends, thresholds, escalation points, and ownership. Trends show direction. Thresholds show when attention is required. Escalation rules show what happens when something changes. Ownership makes sure someone is accountable for action. Governance is what turns measurement into control. When a KRI goes red, the organisation should know what happens next. Who investigates? Who is informed? Who decides the response? What mitigation is available? Measurement should lead to root cause analysis and practical improvement. Without governance, indicators become passive reporting. With governance, indicators become an active management system. So the key question is, when a KRI goes red, what happens next? The key message is that KPI and KRI thinking matters because supply chains need to manage both performance and risk. KP is measure current performance. KR is warn when future performance may be at risk. Used together, they help supply chains improve control, resilience, and decision making. Better dashboards create earlier action and smarter improvement, but the real value is not in the indicator itself. The value is in what people do with the evidence. If a KPI is missed, the organisation needs to understand why. If a KRI is rising, the organisation needs to act before failure occurs. The best supply chains do not just manage outcomes, they manage the risk behind those outcomes. So the final question is this: if you only manage outcomes, who is managing the risk behind them? That is why KPI and KRI thinking is so important.